Good morning, my Real News Media TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, 3 alleged members of anti-posse gang in Westmoreland killed in police operation. 3 alleged members of the anti-posse gang were shot and killed during a confrontation with the police in Greenhill, Westmoreland on Wednesday morning, the Jamaica Constabulary Force says. It said that the incident took place on Mint Road, Crowder, during a pre-dawn targeted operation by a police team executing a search warrant. It said as the police approached the premises, they came under heavy gunfire from armed men. The officers returned the fire, and after the gunfire subsided, 3 men were found with gunshot wounds. They were pronounced dead at the Savannah Lamar Hospital in the parish. 1 9mm Taurus G2C pistol and 1 Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol with a magazine affixed containing 69mm rounds were seized during the operation, the police said. A 4th suspect reportedly escaped during the exchange. The police have identified him as Sandaria Van Horn, otherwise called the Drug Lord. The deceased men have not been formally identified. Investigators believe they were key members of the anti-posse gang, which they say has been linked to serious crimes in the area. 2 charged with gun offenses over attack on Trelawny homeowner. 2 men who allegedly attempted to enter a man's house in Clarkstown have been charged with several offenses, which include damaging a building with intent to commit murder. They are Denton Edwards, 35, otherwise known as the Big Dreams and the Bigger of Mackhill District, and Ian Ferguson, 21, also known as Super Mish, and the Shotgun of Panassus in Trelawny. The other charges are possession of a prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and using a firearm to commit a felony. According to reports from the Falmouth Police, the incident occurred approximately 1:30 a.m. on February 11. It is reported that the man was at home in the Mackhill district when he heard strange noises at his front door and the bedroom window. Upon check-in, he allegedly saw Edwards and Ferguson, both armed with handguns, walking around the side of the house. Shortly after, the man reportedly heard explosions. The man fled to another part of the house to avoid injury and immediately contacted the police, a statement said. Edwards and Ferguson were later arrested. The motive was not stated. St. James woman charged with wounding after knife attack on Barnett Street. A 21-year-old St. James woman who attacked another woman with a knife on Barnett Street last week has been charged with wounding with intent. She is Tamika Nina Jones from the community of Gutters in the Western Parish. According to reports from the Barnett Street Police, the incident occurred about 12:30 p.m. last Thursday when Jones confronted a woman who was walking along the roadway. A physical altercation ensued, during which Jones allegedly used a knife to stab the woman in the back. Law enforcement officers who were in the vicinity reportedly witnessed the incident and intervened. Jones was disarmed and taken into custody, while the injured woman was assisted to the hospital where she was treated and later released. Jones was charged while in custody after the woman's statement was recorded. 48-hour curfew imposed in sections of Cassava Peace, Whitehall and Rock Hall. A 48-hour curfew has been imposed in sections of the Rock Hall, Whitehall and the Cassava Peace communities in the St. Andrew North Division. The curfew started at 6 p.m. and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Friday. During the hours of the curfew, persons within the boundaries of the curfew are required to remain indoors unless otherwise authorized by the person in charge of enforcing the curfew. There has been a flare-up of violence in the areas, prompting a series of curfews. The boundaries of the Rock Hall District curfew are north from Rock Hall Church, with an imaginary line running to Rock Hall Methodist Church, east from Rock Hall Methodist Church, with an imaginary line running to the intersection of Curtis Drive and the Topper Hill Road, south from the intersection of Curtis Drive and the Topper Hill Road, with an imaginary line running to Faith Deliverance Church of God along Slagoville Road. West from Faith Deliverance Church of God with an imaginary line running to Rock Hall Church of God. The boundaries of the Whitehall Avenue curfew are north from the Dunmere Close cul-de-sac with an imaginary line to the intersection of Roehampton Close and the Mannings Hill Road. East along Mannings Hill Road from the intersection of Roehampton Close and the Mannings Hill Road to the intersection of Lawrence Avenue and the Mannings Hill Road. South along Lawrence Avenue from the intersection of Mannings Hill Road and the Lawrence Avenue to the intersection of Swansea Avenue and the Cadet Drive. West from the intersection of Swansea Avenue and the Cadet Drive to the Dunmere Close cul-de-sac. The boundaries of the Cassava Peace Community Curfew are north from Grasvenor Heights to the intersection of Grasvenor Terrace and the Conton Spring Road. South from the intersection of Conton Spring Road leading to Cassava Peace Road onto Clifford Boulevard and the Mannings Hill Road. East from the intersection of Grasvenor Terrace and the Conton Spring Road to the intersection of Cassava Peace Road and the Conton Spring Road. West from the intersection of Clifford Boulevard and the Mannings Hill Road to the intersection of Mannings Hill Road and the Glen Drive to Grasvenor Heights. Fire engulfs a warehouse in Westmoreland. Firefighters are battling a massive warehouse fire on Greater George Street in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland. There are no reports of casualties. Just after 6 p.m., Mayor of Savannah Lamar, Dan Reed Delancey, said the fire was still raging but was somewhat under control based on a report from the local fire department. I think we have passed the worst in terms of the threat posed by the fire, he said. There are fears the fire could spread to a nearby gas station and the church. The fire reportedly started at the tire warehouse around 3 p.m. Thick plumes of smoke have covered the sections of the parish capital. 5 fire units are currently on the scene. They are being assisted by 5 water trucks. The mayor commended several private water truck operators and the National Water Commission for their assistance. He said the closest hydrant was experiencing low water pressure. January 2026 trial for former MP Julian Silvera in murder of wife. Former People's National Party Member of Parliament for St. Mary Western, Julian Silvera, was on Wednesday remanded for a trial on January 12 next year in relation to the murder of his wife Melissa. The 52-year-old businessman was arrested and charged on January 18 last year with murder and has been in custody since. The trial date, however, was scheduled on Wednesday when Silvera appeared before Justice Vinette Graham Allen in the Home Circuit Court. A trial readiness hearing was also set for September 25 this year. The wife of the defendant was found dead in the couple's home in Stony Hill, St. Andrew on November 10, 2023. It was initially reported that the 42-year-old woman had died in her sleep from natural causes. However, an autopsy performed 3 weeks after her death revealed that she had died from gunshot wounds. 3 bullet fragments were found inside her body, leading the police to commence a murder investigation. King's Counsel Peter Champagny and Attorney at Law Patrice Riley are representing Silvera. In the Shab Don murder trial, prosecution wants witness to appear via video link. The prosecution in the murder trial of popular dancehall music producer Shab Don is to make an application to have one of its witnesses appear via video link on Monday. The trial was scheduled to begin on Wednesday. However, when the matter was called up in the St. James Parish Court, the prosecution stated its intention regarding the witness. The defense is to receive a copy of the application before Monday. The producer and his co-accused, Tajay Clark, were further remanded. Shab Don, whose given name is Linval Thompson, is represented by King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson and Donahue Martin, while Mr. Clark is represented by Kadeen Coleman. Mr. Thompson and Mr. Clark were charged in June 2022 following an investigation into a shooting incident in Rose Heights, St. James. 2 men and a woman were killed on May 25, 2022 when gunmen drove into the community and opened a fire on residents. 2 others, including a 15-year-old, were wounded in the incident. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.